So I wouldn't be getting either?
Sorry, say again?
I was going to say I joined after in November, so I wouldn't be getting one this year either.
Possibly, yeah, I think so. I will try and get some clarification from the national office, but I think that's the way it works.
Darn.
Yeah. Timing. Well, welcome. I see people are showing up, so we'll get started in just a moment. 33 people. Yeah, that's nice. Good group there tonight. Right now on the list of people to speak tonight, I have something to share, and then Randy has something, and David Lee has something. Is Reg here? Yes, Reg is here. He was going to share something at a request. Let's see, it's Chris Gainor here. There's Chris Gainor. Chris, do you have an update for us of things, James Webb and Hubble and stuff? Oh, you're still muted.
A very short one.
Sure. Okay, and we got you on the list. And Joe has something, and then I think you know, Randy will probably want to summarize with the AGM, which is coming up in 2 weeks. Does anybody else have anything for this evening? Okay, well, if you do have something, let me know and we can squeeze you in. Anyways, I would like to first of all say that I'm pleased to see some of our newer members coming out, and Jim had let me know earlier this weekend, Jim Cox who's a new member, that he was going to join this evening. So welcome, Jim. Hope you enjoy our group here. We're pretty informal, and you know, if you have questions and stuff, we'll try to answer them. And certainly, you know, I don't know if you want to say a little bit about yourself or not. Don't want to put you on the spot, but
sure. Thanks. I've been watching Astro Cafe on YouTube for a few months. I feel like I know some of you guys already. I just retired a short while ago. I need to get in with David Lee probably in the beginners group. And also the AEE sort of looks interesting.
mm-hmm.
So that's my background.
Perfect. Yeah.
Hello, Jim.
I've got a number of telescopes, but I only need one more.
Yeah, you can get a cheaper rate for fleet insurance.
You can never have too many telescopes, Jim.
It's like a guitar player and guitars, you know. Yeah.
What area in the area do you live?
Tattersall and Quadra. Not far from Uptown.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What do you like looking at?
I really enjoy watching the moon and the planets, actually, and a bit of double stars.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, certainly from the city, the moon and planets make ideal targets because you can
Yes.
tend to see them quite
Yeah.
well.
A lot of light out where you are.
There is, and there's a street light just to the south of me that I'm trying to get Hydro to put a shield on for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going that well so far.
You have to go to the Saanich municipality to put a shield on.
Oh, Saanich, not Hydro.
Yeah, do you live in Saanich?
Yes,
Or
I do.
Yeah. Yeah, they were very responsive. I'd
Oh, okay.
asked them to do it on, I think, a Sunday afternoon, and when I looked out on Monday night, it had already been done. So I got kind of 24-hour service. So
Wow. I'll get a hold of Saanich.
yeah, so hopefully they'll do that for you. Great. Well, it's thank you for joining us tonight. We got 37 people. That's great to see. And just a reminder that so we'll have a couple of different speakers tonight. And just a reminder to all say that we've got the AGM coming up in 2 weeks, and that will start at 7. Just so you're aware, because we have a guest speaker speaking to us from the Eastern time zone. So that will be the first thing. So I have a presentation I'd like to make tonight and start off. So I'll just share my screen. this will work. And there. So there was a bulletin released today from the IAU working group on small bodies nomenclature. Just so you, in case you're not aware, this is the group that's responsible for naming and designation of small bodies. So except for the satellites of the planets. So these are all the various things, the near-Earth objects, trans-Neptunian objects, dwarf planets, and various other things. And found in that document that was released today is this entry. So I'm very happy to report that Sid now has an asteroid named in his honor.
I don't believe it, Chris.
Congratulations, Sid.
Well, thank you.
So this
Very
is,
good.
he's got 10109 and will be now known as Sidhu. And
Here.
this is his citation for that.
Thank you. So could I interrupt you here?
Sure,
Chris, 2
please
seconds?
do.
So
You're
if
the
I
guest
want
of
a new,
honor.
so if I want a new job now, I will go to you to write me my resume.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sid, is there a story behind this?
Oh, there is a
I-
little bit more to come. So here we go.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah. So first of all, I wanted to just say who actually discovered this. And this was discovered by, so actually, let me just go back one slide here. So you'll see this E.F. Halen, I guess it is because it's of Swedish ancestry. And that's Eleanor Frances Halen, who was at part of the Jet Propulsion Lab and did a lot of work at Palomar. And she was a very prolific discoverer of minor planets and comets as well. So she's got, I think, 903 asteroids to her credit, which I think must put her up there as being a very, very high number. And what can we tell you about 10109 Sidhu? At this time, it was known as 1992 KQ because it was first discovered in 1992. So it is an asteroid. This comes off a website called Universe Guide. It's got a magnitude of 12.54, and it's at 2.666 AU, the furthest point from the center to the edge of the elliptical point. So it should be within reach of a fairly decent sized telescope. So the question, how did this come about? Well, in 2018, centers of RASC were asked by Peter Jedicke, who's also with us tonight, of course, to submit nominations for people to be honored by the naming of an asteroid. And the Victoria Center nominated Sid. And I'd just been thinking about this nomination not too long ago because I submitted it when I was center president. That's Sid's reference to me, I guess. But it was submitted in October 2018. So I guess, you know, some of these wheels of astronomy do not move too quickly. And I was just thinking about, I wonder what had happened to that. So we find out today, and here we are. I had a look through the RASC list of people who also have, or things that have asteroids named after them. And there's quite a few associated with Victoria and the Victoria Center. So Sid joins quite an illustrious crew that I could find, and I'm sure I've missed some of the people on the list. And I didn't put in that the Jedicke family also have an asteroid. As some of you may know, Peter's brother is also an astronomer, so they have quite a bit of work to their credit. So I'll stop the share at that point.
So
and, open up to comments.
Yeah, so he joins my good friend Bruce McCurdy, who got an asteroid named after him this year.
Yes, and I see, did I see Alistair Ling is also on there too?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
And Roland Deschen also has just joined the ranks as of today. So that's Calgary Center.
Also today, Jamie Matthews from Vancouver. And interestingly, the Humboldt Broncos, the hockey team that was involved with that terrible bus accident. So in honor of the 10 hockey players who died, they were honored with the name of an asteroid, and I think that's a wonderful gesture
Yeah.
for the families and for everybody who was affected by that day.
I was
So
thinking,
that's the good news. The bad news is that Sid's asteroid is heading straight for Earth.
just to his place though.
Revenge. He'll get revenge.
So watch out, Chris. Well, thank you very much for everyone helping me along the way. I joined this crazy group in 1985, and it has been a joyful ride. And still more to go. Yeah.
Well, Sid, I think you are such a wonderful addition to our community, and your outreach work has affected thousands and thousands of people. You're really a wonderful member of the amateur astronomy world, and we really do thank you. And I can't think of a better person to get this honor.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah.
I would say very well deserved, Sid.
Yeah.
And I was just going to say, not to put him on the spot, but maybe Peter is kind of initiated this. You could tell us a little bit about kind of what happened after.
Yeah.
So we know what happened up till October 2018. What happened next?
Is he still online? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here, Sid. Congratulations.
Well,
and
thank you
deserved,
for all
as your friends have said.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
You're so yeah. Just to, I'll answer any questions, of course, but just in brief, the IAU naming system is fairly, it's always been very slow moving and plodding along. So I thought the RASC would be a suitable group to, propose names, and I reached out and got a whole bunch of nominations, basically one from every center, and submitted them together, and they just basically took forever to grind through the system. And today, as Chris has shown you, the announcement came out that included this last little group, Roland and Jamie Matthews and Hum Broncos and Sid, and also Colleen O'Hare from Okanagan Center.
Wonderful for your efforts. Thank you. Yeah.
I think Colleen is just as much of a public outreach maniac as Sid is, so that's well deserved.
Yeah, and I must have. I hope I wasn't breaking any secrets there. I haven't heard back yet from Okanagan Center if they were able to inform Colleen. So if any of you are friends of Colleen, don't call her up until we know that her center has informed her that she's on the list.
Thank you. And I'm in good company with Jim too. Jim also has an asteroid named after him. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a few center members, so that's good. And thank you, Peter, for making this happen too. That was.
Congratulations, Sid.
Oh, thank you.
And I don't know if does everyone know, probably not, that Sid's also got started on the light pollution abatement in a good big way back in, I think, early 90s, Sid, or before that. And for that miserable 5K radius around the DAO is so far the limit of what Saanich has in terms of some semi-real control of light pollution. So multiple congratulations, Sid. It's great.
Thank you. I think that Saanich bylaw is a credit to Jim because he instituted, it was before my time practically. Yeah. So.
Well, and the lights at Cattle Point.
Yeah, it's a group effort in a way. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, again, well done. Oh, sure. Peter's offered to show the orbit. Yeah, let's have a look at that. Where is Sid now?
Is it coming here to meet me?
Yeah.
That's where it is.
Yeah.
So how do we get the actual coordinates? And Sid, with your telescope, when are you going to try to send us a picture of it?
I hope so pretty soon. Otherwise, I would probably have to get a bigger telescope now.
There's a good idea.
Yeah, I will not find it. I will have an excuse to get a bigger telescope.
But you said earlier today, your magnitude 12 is not a problem with
No,
your.
yeah, magnitude 12 is easy in a way from my location. Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Hopefully I will meet myself sometime.
Yeah. Very good.
It has been a truly surprised announcement. Thanks everyone who kept it secret or who promoted this effort. Thank you.
Very good. Okay, well, I think Randy, you asked to present something this evening, so I think you're up next.
Very good. And as always, do you see my screen?
Aye.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so this is a paper that's getting some press, just published, The Transformative Journey of HD 93521. Bit of Canadian content. I Googled Doug Gies, and he did his 3 degrees at University of Toronto, graduated in 1985. And there's this really retro YouTube of him giving a tour of the David Dunlap Observatory, the 74-inch, being interviewed by a heartbreakingly young Randy Atwood. Must have been early 80s. Anyway, Gies is now in Georgia, and it's just a lovely story. It's a whole romp through astrophysics. So let me take you through why there's this observational paradox and the way that this team has offered a solution. So if you look up HD 93521 in Stellarium, I was very pleased to see that you can just give the name of a, any old star and it'll tell you where it is. Here it is between Leo Minor, the Little Lion, and Ursa Major, and magnitude 7. It's, it's just another star, but it's a spectral type O. We'll talk about this. Where is it? So instead of the normal projection with respect to the Earth, this is the galactic plane. So this is looking all the way around the Earth, but centering it so that the Milky Way is at latitude 0 all the way around. And you see that this star is between Ursa Major and Leo Minor. So it's right on the edge here, but way, way off the galactic plane. And that's okay. There's lots of stars up there, but let's talk a bit about its spectral type. So I got to keep going back to the Hertzsprung-Russell or the color luminosity diagram, where stars that burn hydrogen into helium. So this is called the main sequence. Most stars are just burning their hydrogen into helium, and they go from hot to cold with the very famous mnemonic, only bad astronomers forget generally known mnemonics. This is a bit of a joke for the people who really know the things, but that's actually a much better mnemonic. Anyway, here's where 93521 fits. And just to go into this a bit, you need to have the luminosity, how bright the star is, that's the vertical axis, and its color or its temperature, which is the horizontal axis. So for the luminosity, you just measure how bright the star is here on Earth, and it's about a magnitude 7. but you also have to know how far it is. And until there's my cat. Until the Gaia Early Data Release 3, it was actually quite a bit further away. Now it's 4,000 light years away. It was 7,000. And just for comparison, the Earth is about 8 times as far from the center of the galaxy than this star is away from us, and it's 40,000 times as bright as the sun. Okay, that's a very bright star, and the only way that you can be that bright is if you're burning up your fuel really fast. It is spectral type O. It actually, the peak of its color would be in the ultraviolet. It is so hot. And there's other interesting things in this spectrum, but the important thing for now is it's recognized to be really a 1 in a million sort of hot sort of star. So that's how they know that it's up here. The HD, incidentally, that's Henry Draper. This is the oldest Harvard star list, the one that you read about in Glass Universe, about all these amazing women who cataloged all of the stars that they could photograph. So this is from that old list. If you look this up in Simbad, the list of all the astronomy papers and all the bodies that you see in the sky, there's 410 articles, publications that feature HD 93521. So this is just a small piece of the color luminosity diagram, just to put it in context. That's the same diagram on this scale of this diagram. Okay, so what do we see here? With a bunch of very clever stellar modeling, they can figure out that this star is 17 solar masses in mass. And these are isochrons. These are lines of, in millions of years, how old the star is since it came to the main sequence and just started burning its hydrogen. And you can see that it is 5 million years old. Just think about that. The Earth is like 5 billion years old. The sun is older than that. This very hot, large sun is burning itself out. It's only going to last 10 million years total. And as an Earth scientist, that's fast. Okay, so we know its direction. We know that it's, in Leo Minor. We know its distance, and so we can do the 3-dimensional position and say where it is with respect to the galaxy, the Milky Way. So the center of the galaxy is way off to the left of the screen. We would be just a little bit off the left of the screen, and the galaxy is hanging out around 0 kiloparsecs from this line. And 93521 is way up here. Then you have to figure out, where did it come from? And I'm just delighted, just a little more local content. The first spectra of this star were published by Plaskett here in Victoria. So it's very important to note that the main reason that we have this big telescope in town is to measure the spectra of O and B type stars. So between Mount Wilson, the 100-inch at Mount Wilson, and the Plaskett here, they carved off every second degree of right ascension. So all the, I don't know whether it was odds or evens, but Plaskett took all the odd degrees, and the people at the on Mount Wilson took all the evens, and they went after the O and B stars to figure out the structure of the Milky Way. Absolutely awesome piece of work. Anyway, there's lots and lots of measurements, and in the end, they have come to the conclusion that it's moving, this particular star is moving towards us about 9 kilometers per second, which is actually really slow. And then using Gaia, they also see what its motion is in milli-arcseconds per year, north-south and east-west, or that's in declination and right ascension, or the other way around, I don't know which. Anyway, these are 1 million year ticks. And so you can see that 5 million years ago, it was still over a kiloparsec away from the galactic plane. And there's all sorts of articles doing X-ray and radio and doing everything in that region. And the problem is it's boring. This is what you normally, where you find new stars. And Lucky Bud is somebody who I don't know in our community, but these are pictures that he's been submitting and have been published recently in Sky News. And is he online today? Anyway, spectacular photos he's producing. But the Pleiades and the Orion Nebula, that's where you expect to see stars forming. And there's just nothing worthy of making an O-type star way up a kiloparsec in that direction. So how did the star form out of nothing? Maybe it actually was flung there from the galactic plane. Okay, so what these authors did is, using a couple of different models, they worked backwards, knowing where it is and where it's going. Then they worked out that it was down at the galactic plane, quite a bit further out from the galactic center than the sun, 39 plus or minus 3 million years ago. And it seems pretty robust. But the star is only 5 million years old. So if it formed somewhere 39 million years ago, but it's only 5 million years old, well, there's a couple of other things that these authors took into account. When you look at the spectrum, it's got way too much helium for that type of star. It's just very anomalous. And the other thing is the lines are pretty broad, and they interpret that to be that it is rotating fast. It's something like rotating in 21 hours compared to the sun, which rotates over, what is it, about 3 weeks? And it's like it's moving 400 kilometers a second on its surface, they figure. So this is their solution, and it's actually not a new solution, but they've made it quantitative. So they say that there was a tight binary, one star that was 9 solar masses, and the other one was a bit less, 8 solar masses, and they formed about 39 million years ago around the galactic plane. And then there are 2 ways to fling a star. One is when it interacts with a bunch of other stars. Sometimes the other stars gang together and kind of slingshot it out. And the other one is it can get pushed out by a supernova. But they figure that these 2 stars, the bigger one was stealing mass from the lighter one. And about 5 million years ago, they coalesced into one star rotating super fast with too much helium, and it mixed up the contents of the star so much that it started the hydrogen burning all over again. And so what we're actually looking at is resetting the clock 5 million years ago because of the coalesced binary. And then this week, there's all sorts of articles like in Sky and Telescope and in Science, And I just thought this is pretty cool. And that's why you guys got to get me to work on this weekend.
Fascinating.
That's great.
Very cool.
It's just a lovely way of putting together all those little pieces of astrophysics that at my level I kind of know. Anyway, I would love to know if this is the right sort of level talk for this group. Are people enjoying this sort of, oh, I'm getting thumbs up. Okay, well, then you'll be stuck with me doing more of them.
It's fascinating to find that, who would have thought that would be what would happen if, essentially the stars joined together and all of a sudden, it's like it started over again. So the temperature is much hotter than it should be. Is that basically what we're saying? And it's
no, it's a main sequence star,
but it's
reset.
Yeah, it's
it is reset. It is. Yeah. There's no reason for a 17 solar mass star to be out there, and so seeing a bright blue star in that part of the universe is just weird. And it was recognized as weird a long time ago. I was looking at a paper from 1952. And they figured it's a really good beacon for looking at the interstellar gas. So they're looking at absorption lines in the spectrum between the star and where we are to kind of probe how much gas there is off the galactic plane.
Yeah. That's very interesting.
I'm just imagining what the view of the galaxy must be like from the inhabitants of an Earth-like planet there.
Yeah. That'd be a nice place.
Good job there, Randy. This is great because it shows us what Canadian astronauts are doing. Astronomers, and just like Margie's showing what Canadian women are doing. So good job. Canada punches above its weight, in my humble opinion, in astronomy. So this is nice to hear what they're doing.
Andy, can I ask a question? I might have missed it. It's not about your cat, although I can see your cat. The helium, what's the significance of the fact that it's got so much helium?
Oh, it's got 39 million years of helium burning in it.
Oh, okay. I understand now.
Yeah, so it's been accumulating helium way longer than the 5
so
million years
a lot older than it.
If you see an O-type star in the Pleiades, it will just like that just started in the last few million years.
Okay.
So the question then, Randy, is did they both have not quite enough hydrogen to be burning, or did one of them have a lot of hydrogen? What's the answer to that?
I think they were just plain main sequence stars. There was nothing very exciting about it.
Now, but I guess at the time of combination, maybe there was enough hydrogen between the two of them to kind of reset that. Is that what they're thinking?
Yeah.
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Does Jim Hesser, do you have any ideas about this? You're the expert here. No?
I'm not the expert, but I don't. It's a fascinating story, and I really enjoyed Randy's summary of this situation. I was unaware of it.
Does anybody know what a type 2 star is? Because in the literature, there's old papers that make the hypothesis that it might be a type 2, and they seem to have rejected it. But I don't know what a type 2 star is. And I think it's a BAADE, bad classification.
That sounds like Bada's classifications of the two basic groups of stellar populations, with type 2 being the older stars, but
Oh, the ones with no
that
metal.
wouldn't make sense with that spectral type. So I don't understand that.
Well, they just knew there was something funny. But okay, so the type 2, that means the ones that have no metal in them.
Yeah, they say metal poor, actually, by definition.
Yeah. So this is not a metal poor. This is obviously an nth generation star.
Yeah.
Question I had, Randy, I don't know if you know the answer to it, but you talked about how they were able to track back the path of its life and determine that it formed in the galactic plane from 2 stars coalescing. Were they able to determine what the other coalescent star was and what happened to it when they mixed? Like, is it reborn or is it died?
It is now 1 star that was 2.
Ah, okay. So 2 stars came together, reignited their life.
Mm-hmm. And the reason saying the galactic plane is that's where the star formation takes place. You see galaxies because the dust is in high enough concentration that it turns into stars. When you're looking at any galaxy, you're really looking at a dust cloud, and parts of it turn luminous because you get clumps of that dust coming together. And then they go through the stellar evolution and they die, and then new ones get formed. I mean, all we're looking at is a dust cloud with this wonderful moment. Most of the time, dust is black. Sometimes it coalesces and turns into a star, and that's not the majority.
So a type 2 star is cleaner than a type 1 star.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, very interesting.
Randy, what's the current view then of a black hole? Are we actually having a conglomeration of so many stars that light can escape because of the forces? Or is it a bunch of black dust that's eventually going to explode in a big bang or something?
Oh, no. The black holes are, well, they do evaporate. They can actually die. That's a whole weird thing. But you've got normal black holes, which are these little concentrations that are all over the place. And then you've got the supermassive one in the middle of all the galaxies. And they're just getting bigger. Things falling into them.
So is it that they're sucking up the ability for light to escape? Like there's still chain reactions going on in there, but we just can't see it emitting? Or do we know? It's always been curious to me, and I apologize if I'm asking a question beneath everybody's knowledge level.
No, that's above my knowledge level. Is there nuclear reactions? I don't think so. I think inside the black hole, what we call the black hole is the event horizon. But in the middle, you actually have singularity. You don't have something small. You have something which is a point, I think.
Supposedly. Okay.
Well,
Thank you.
We don't really know.
Yeah.
But the math that we do know makes it a point. But more likely the math that we know is wrong.
Thank you.
Once you start getting into the center of or getting inside the event horizon, you start getting points where you're dividing by 0, and that never comes out with a good ending.
Yeah, when I worked up
in
at
space, all equal the same, right?
When I worked up at DAO, I was pestering one of the experts in black holes there, and I asked him that very same question, Dwayne. So no problem with that. He said, "We simply don't know," is what he told me.
Darn, I want to find out someday.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about it, it's possible that there's still some stuff happening, but it's just so massive. I think it just contains itself. Possibly. I mean, but will we ever know? Possibly never.
Right. So it could be like the evolution of the stars, as we just saw different temperatures and time. Is that close to the event horizon, there might be chain reactions going on, but we don't see them because they get sucked in. And when we get to the event horizon, it's such a narrow point that the time, the way we know it, changes. Perhaps. Who knows?
Yeah.
Thank you.
yeah, one of those things we probably, well, we might never know for sure. Who knows? But anyways, yeah, fascinating topic. Thanks, Randy. Yeah, I never thought about something like a star appearing to be in the wrong place, I guess, at the wrong time.
Well, I just love, here we are living on Earth, figuring out something that's happening 4,000 light years away. It's fantastic.
Great. So David, Lee, you would like to say a few words this evening.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Let me just share my screen. So I wanted to tell you guys about a lunar occultation that's coming up. Now, it's a little bit early. It's not going to happen until February 22nd. But I just wanted to let you know, just in case people are not familiar with the star, so they can find it ahead of time. Though it's going to be pretty hard to miss the moon. So as long as you got your times right, you should be okay. So occultations, one of my favorite topics. I love when celestial objects cover up other celestial objects, including eclipses. In this case, the moon is covering up an area along the ecliptic. The Zubin el-Kanubi, which is an Arabic name, has an interesting meaning. It means the scorpion's southern claw. So what that kind of means is that in the early days of describing these constellations, this part of the sky extends beyond Scorpio here. So they didn't really differentiate or maybe think of these things as the scales, like one would know today in terms of the scale. So thus the claws of the scorpion. So this star here, now let me just go to the second frame here. So look carefully here. There's actually kind of two stars here. This would be visible to you if you had a pair of binoculars, but this is the dominant star. When they talk about Zubin el-Kanubi, they really mean Alpha 2 Libra. So it's this one here. It's the brighter of the pair, and it's Mag 28. So if you think about it, it's if you can see the stars in the Dipper, you'll be able to see this star. Also, there's always two events associated with occultations, at least the ones that have to do with the moon. So they have a disappearance and a reappearance. So this is where we see this. So begin with here in Victoria. Now, I really encourage you, if people are watching this and you don't live in Victoria, I would refer you to this website down here, which potentially would give you a fairly close estimate as to the times when these events will occur. Now you see there's Victoria here in the table, and that's where I actually got the timings. I also just went into my planetarium software and did the same, and it would appear that the star is going to be disappearing into the brighter area of the moon at 2:45, and then a little over an hour later, it's going to come out the other side, and this is the reappearance. So that's at 3:53. So definitely go look at this website. This is also useful for seeing other occultations that are coming up, and they're always sort of targeted for a particular region for visibility. So just look out for Western Canada and things like that, or North America, and then you should be able to see the ones. And the brighter ones are typical for beginners and for people that don't have, really big telescopes. So yeah, pick the brighter ones. This is especially bright, so there's no excuse for this one. So find the Kanubi before the event. So pick your instrument of choice, anything from binoculars to large telescopes as well. And one thing to note is where you're going to expect to see the moon. So you're looking for, at the horizon line, you're looking for an azimuth of 135 to 180, which would be southeast to south, and an altitude of 20 degrees. So unless you have really tall buildings around, you should be able to see this. And this is my favorite thing. I take a nap before this event because this one's going to be kind of really early in the morning, unless you're a night owl and you're going to stay up all night anyways.
It is the day of the AGM,
It
Don't
is the
miss
day of the
the
AGM.
AGM.
Yeah, so don't celebrate too much, I guess.
Then take your nap. And
Then
then
take your
watch
nap. Yeah, I understand the AGM is going to start a little bit early for our guest speakers, so you'll have more napping time. Anyways, make sure that you're looking for the reappearance a few minutes before the posted time. That's always a good advice. And then just in case your timepiece is inaccurate. So if this is your first a lunar occultation, the priority is to look at it. And then if you want an extra challenge, you can certainly throw some imaging equipment at it. And if you are interested, just let me know, and I can review what you might want to use for that, and maybe give you some tips for recording it. So that's it. Let me know if you have any questions. In fact, are there any questions right now? I can't see everybody here, but if not,
How hard is it to see a star against the bright moon?
It's going to be a little bit harder. I would recommend using binoculars or a telescope for that. I don't really know. I think 2.8, 2.75 is quite bright. So I don't think it'll be too hard to see it. And then definitely coming out of the dark side, it'll be easy. It'll be easy to spot. And that's the area where if you apply a little bit of magnification, you might see a little bit of blinking as it comes out because of the lunar profile. So yeah, if you want more information, check out the website. And if you have very specific questions, you can always send me a note.
Yeah, I guess the biggest issue will be, first of all, assuming we can see it, and then
weather. Yes, weather will be the biggest
depending
issue.
how, if it's fuzzy, like I noticed the other night, it was quite fuzzy around the moon. I think that would make it quite a challenge.
But bright objects and a telescope, it's amazing how much things burn through. Like in fact, one of my favorite times to look at the moon is often with a light haze, because it just cuts down the brightness a little bit, right? It makes it a little bit easier on the eyes. So no problem there. And I've often looked at the moon looking for things, and even though naked eye, it looks like there's nothing there, you apply some imaging or apply a telescope to it, and you can actually see it.
Very good points.
Elizabeth, do you have a question?
Yes. What is the name of the website?
It's the IOTA website. Let me go back to it, maybe so you can screen cap it or something like that. Or I can actually throw it into the chat as well. There. There, sorry. So you can see it there. Don't know if it's visible to you. Yeah, there you go. This one right here. Just up there, actually.
Maybe you could throw that in the chat.
The links.
Copy it. Yeah.
Can you put the link in
the notes?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be neat to see. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, no problem.
Reg, do you have a few words to say?
I believe somebody wanted an update on the Victoria Center Observatory.
Yeah, I guess if you could let us know kind of where we're at. And
okay. Before I start, I just wanted to extend my congratulations to Sid. And I can't think of a better person to have an asteroid named after them. And I reckon this has got to qualify as a Galileo moment. So don't often get those honors. So all the best there. I'm just going to share the screen if you're, and we'll try and get this thing working. And can anybody see this picture?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, this is a photograph taken at the Victoria Center Observatory, and this little area here is the garage. And hidden in the garage are two Dobsonian telescopes. This one is the 20-inch Dobsonian. It's in a 20-inch Obsession telescope. And the person here is an owner of a Dobsonian, and he's also the person who provided us we purchased his telescope refractor off of him, and he came up a year ago to show me deliver the refractor. And he also is a real expert. He has a 20-inch and a 15-inch obsession. And I will say that unfortunately, he passed away in May due to cancer. And he's from Port Alberni, but he was often here during our star parties, and I had many great conversations with Mike Krempotic, and he's given us a lot of valuable information how to better set up this telescope. One issue with this telescope, though, is that if you're looking up towards the zenith, you'd need a really tall ladder here. And because of that, some people are a bit uneasy. So we also have a 12-inch Dobsonian that used to belong to Charles Banville. And that's a little easier to operate. And we do have some nice short ladders to step up there, 2 or 3 steps, and people could easily enjoy the night sky with those. We do have a set of digital setting circles that we have not yet attached to this telescope, but they will allow a person to move the scope out. We would set it up on 2 different stars and for calibration purposes, and then you can dial to any star you want. There's a special handset that will tell you where to push the scope, and it will help you line up. But that's coming in a little while, probably later in the spring we'll have that set up. And I'm just going to try. Can people see this other picture?
Yeah.
Okay, this is the box that the other telescope. This is a Takahashi refractor that we purchased from Mike Krempotic, and it came with a beautiful box as well. And I'll just go down here. We did a bit of an update in June, and this has got a nice picture of the 12.5-inch OGS reflector, Ritchie Krachan scope, and the Takahashi attached to the side of it. And this is the first light taken from the picture. I've got a camera here, and very eager, I looked at this tree, and this is a photo of the tree. So that is our first light of it. And it can be easily configured either as a visual scope or as a scope with a camera on it. And it looks kind of complicated here, but what we've done is developed a document here that once we're really back up to speed again, we have a system that describes how you can configure this scope in a visual mode, as a deep sky mode for photography at f7.7 or 1,000 millimeters focal length, and this is the field of view you would get with that. And also we can configure it with a focal reducer as an f5.4 or 700 millimeter. And we have also the gadgets to hook it up for planetary use as well. And this just shows you how to configure a power mate, a TeleView power mate, which is a special type of Barlow. So we've got all of the gadgets there to hook up either a Canon or Nikon DSLR, and you can get close-up pictures of a planet as well. So this scope will be useful for either visual or photography use, and it's really geared up so easily. If you got your own DSLR, you can bring it along and bag some photons. So that's there. But we have also added on recently a very exotic camera and filter wheel to the back of the optical guidance system 12.5-inch Ritchie Cray-Chan. And we have a helical focuser here, a Borg helical focuser, and we have a whole pile of little gadgets here. And it just so happens that this particular sensor here captures images that are 61 megapixels. It's a large full frame camera. It's got a lot of cooling. It'll cool it down to about minus 35 to minus 40 degrees below ambient temperatures. And it's got a filter wheel. Right now we have 4 filters in there, luminance, red, green, and blue. And we will be getting narrowband filters in there soon as well. And last night, John McDonald, David Lee, and I were up there to bring it into focus for the first time. And we found out in order to get it into focus, we had to remove this 10mm spacer. And I don't want to spoil any thunder, but this is our first picture with that camera. And this was taken, actually, we had about 5 photos, and John McDonald very carefully captured them, lined them up, and put them together, and we got this rather impressive shot. I was really struck by this because we had quite a difficulty focusing this camera, because each of the file size for each of the images that are taken with it are about 120 megabytes in size. And so it takes a little time for it to download to the computer, and we're looking at a screen. So we make an adjustment and the screen refreshes itself, and we go on from there. We do have a couple of issues with communications that we're going to be working on. And the drive itself, it was kind of a cool evening, and it sounded like it was groaning and that. So the Paramount mount is exhibiting kind of a problem with arthritis. At any rate, we are planning later this week, Gary Sedun, David Lee, and I are going up to the hill to check that out. And I just want to thank John McDonald and Dave Lee in particular for coming up and helping to get this thing set up. It's been a really a long process to get these things up and running, but we're getting fairly close now to getting this thing somewhat operational. So I'll pass it back to you if there's any questions.
Reg, I would love you to outline the current COVID policy and the attestation.
Good point. At the moment, the COVID regulations are such that we are only allowed 4 people at this area around the Victoria Centre Observatory at one time, and 2 people can also set up at the Plaskett parking lot. So any viewing party we have would be restricted to 6. One of those people would be a member in charge, and anybody who sets foot on the hill has to send a message to Randy saying that I attest that I am fully vaccinated. If you don't do that, you're in big trouble, and we are too. So please send a message to the president of the Victoria Centre of RASC, and just to say that you're attested, that you have indeed been double vaccinated. And I guess the other thing is that we want to socially distance when they're up there. We have the roof of the observatory rolled off, so we allow basically 2 people in that room at a time. But there is space to wheel out one of those other scopes for viewing. But we encourage you to bring your own eyepieces there, so we aren't contaminating eyepieces if you would like to join us. And the way that it will work is that the member in charge will send a message to the active observers list. And if you're on the active observers list and you've attested, you would reply saying, yes, I would be interested in coming up, and we will publish a gate time. And if you're one of the small group, the first people who join up, you can meet the MIC at the gates of the DAO and they'll go up. And that's about it.
Great, thanks, Reg. And could you, if you're sending that information to Randy, please copy me at membership at victoria.rasc.ca with that attestation, because I'm keeping a spreadsheet of that.
Yeah, excellent.
So,
thanks for reminding me of that, Chris.
So basically, as we, as the committee work to get the observatory fully operational, I think the next step will probably be MIC reorientation, if I'm not mistaken, Reg. And then
yes, I showed you that one document that is for the use of the Takahashi refractor. Because of the delicate alignment issues with the more exotic camera on the 12.5-inch telescope, we'd prefer to leave that configuration untouched, because we've had a lot of tweaking to do to get everything working right. And we're not quite there yet with our guide camera and this sort of stuff. So that is still a project in progress. But hopefully we've had a long cloudy period over the winter and better days ahead, I would say.
Yeah, thanks for that. There was just some point I was going to make too. Oh, are we still looking for some people who would like to be trainee mix? Is that?
We have 1 or 2 spaces for people who would be interested in being a member in charge. The member in charge is the responsible person on the Hill. And normally when we have a large party of people, there's 2 members of charge to keep tabs of things. But with such a small party of just 4 people, we only need 1 member in charge during the COVID regulations. But normally, some people have joined the club since COVID has come along. But on the far side of COVID, we will be reopening up the VCO again, and we have a maximum of 15 MICs or members in charge that are registered with the National Research Council, and they're provided an access code to go through the gate and keys to open up the Victoria Centre Observatory. And we would normally have usually about 4 or 5 nights a year when they would have to agree to open up the observatory. And a lot of those are probably going to be scrubbed by lack of cloud and due to unusable skies in the winter. But in the summer, it's a bit more active. And we have a scheduled night. It's usually on a Saturday night in the winter and a Friday night in the summer. It shifts to Friday night so it doesn't interfere with the FDAO summer star parties. So that's something. So what you would need to know is that a little bit about the night sky, how the telescope operates and this sort of stuff. And we are developing documentation to how to operate the Paramount mount, because we have to operate it using a program called SkyX and a computer. So there is a little bit of a learning curve, and for all of the mix, we're going to try and have a couple of training sessions, probably 1 or 2 by Zoom. We'll have documents to provide them, and we're also planning to have kind of hands-on sessions as kind of to get people familiar with the new gear that we have up on the Hill.
So get in touch with Reg if you're interested in knowing more about potentially becoming a member in charge. Because as I say, I think we, once once we hope things will return to normal, we certainly will need more people than we have at the moment, as I understand it. Thanks, Reg.
You're welcome.
Chris Gainor.
Okay, things are still proceeding with James Webb. We're kind of into small steps now. Last week, the instruments were turned on for the first time, and since we last met, James Webb has had its first light, the first photons hit the telescope in the near-infrared camera instrument, the NIRCam, but they're all kind of 18 points of light from the star that the telescope is aimed at. I forget the number, but it's in Ursa Major somewhere. So now the lengthy and laborious work is getting underway to line those things up together to within the, not only pointing the same way, but also within a few nanometers of each other in terms of what they want. And so that's going ahead, and things are proceeding. And I'll just add something else. I have another hobby, which is collecting stamps, and Webb just became real for me because I got my my stamp cover canceled at the place where Webb was launched on Christmas Day. So I could throw this in with all my other stuff going back to the beginning of the space age. One other thing I will mention is just last week I spoke about getting the Hubble book. I am hoping to get a shipment of the Hubble books within the next little while, and then I will be making them available to people here. But I've also announced in general that you can write the NASA Headquarters Information Center. I know Reg has done that already, asking for a copy of the book, and we'll see how fast that goes. If you're interested in doing it that way, I have it on, I have a couple of different websites, my chrisgainor.ca and all that, and Chris Gainor's books on Facebook, but I'm hoping to get a large number of books here, and I know I've already heard from Malcolm about that, so when that shipment arrives, I'll certainly let you know, and then we can start distributing them. I got a small number of books fairly recently, so they're going to a few people, like the folks at the Observatory who helped me, and Lori has done such a great job and having to put up with the calendar stuff and all that, so I decided I should give her one, and but I'm hoping to have more for everybody in the club who wants one. So that's all I have to say for today.
Great, thanks, Chris. Do you happen to know?
And I just want to add my congratulations to Sid. I'm delighted about that.
Do you happen to know that email address for NASA?
Like I said, it's where is it?
Or did Reg find it?
It was on an email I sent out to the Rascals list. Just a minute. Just let me find it here.
Sure, maybe you could just put it in the chat. It would be great.
Yes.
Just in case people, because if we can get one
Info center at hqnasa.gov, but I'll put that in the.
Great, thank you so much. I love paper books still, but I don't necessarily want to invade your supply if I don't have to. Thank you.
There you go.
Joe,
And you can
have-
only, when you contact them, you can only ask for one,
Yeah,
one at a time.
very good. And Joe, you had an announcement.
Yes, I do. If anyone would like a observer's handbook, we have one that was donated by a member who does not observe. So you can either contact me in chat or you can email me at webb@victoria.ras.ca. I would prefer to give it to someone, obviously, who is going to use it, not just let it sit on the shelf. So let me know.
Thanks, Joe. And is there anybody else who wants to say anything before I ask Randy to make any final comments? Okay,
I actually, just one thing,
Sure.
Jim, being a new member, and for anybody else, if you're interested in joining the beginners group or the getting started in astronomy group, just fire me an email. I'm David at victoria.rasc.ca, and then I can add you to the list.
Thank you.
And also this Thursday, there will be a Zoom meeting for the Maker's Sig.
Great. Thanks for letting us know, Jim. And you'll be sending that out to the list, I guess.
Yes, either I or David will send it out. I'm not sure if I can get access to the list to send that out to the Maker's Sig, but I'll definitely get it out.
Great, thanks. Okay, so I think if that's it, then we're to you, Randy.
Okay. So just want to say that our speaker in 2 weeks at 7 o'clock is Doug Welch, who is right now the Dean of Graduate Studies, and he's Vice Provost of McMaster University, but he's also on the board of the Canada Francois Telescope. Here's a picture of Doug and his wife Jody at the telescope, and he's on the board of the 30-meter telescope, and he's a wonderful fellow. And I've known him since, I don't know, 1980. And so his topic is the life and times of the sky quality meter. He was the designer of the equipment and will be using it for our sky quality survey that David's leading in the autumn. And looking forward to him speaking. We need our quorum of 25 people. So do come 2 weeks from now, half an hour early. And if you can't come, it's also really valuable to set up somebody to be a proxy, because if we don't have the quorum, then we don't get to do our financial statement and all those yummy things that we have to do according to our constitution and for the Small Organizations Act of BC or something like that. So see you in 2 weeks, and we have a talk, and then we have the meeting. It's starting at 7, and I'm going to try to be zippy, and it won't take too long. How about that?
Any questions for Randy or anybody else, or any final comments?
Who should they contact if they decide they would like to give proxy?
Oh, Lordy, who understands the rules of order?
Well, usually the secretary, but I don't know if she's on.
Yeah,
I think on board for that.
You can nominate any other member to be your proxy.
Yeah,
true.
Just you have to write out a form. You have to write it out to say I nominate X to be my proxy.
Yeah, and I guess
who's an active
send a
member.
letter to secretary at victoria.ras.ca, which is Barbara Lane.
So let her know you've done that, I guess, would be the. Yeah.
But much better to come. We want to see your shining faces.
Great. Any other questions, comments? don't know if everybody saw Brian's comment there. Do you want to say it out loud, Brian?
Yeah, I saw a note in one of the Sky News about being able to see a couple Mar seas on the far side of the moon do the libration. So I was out before tonight's meeting and a lot more apparent than I'd seen in the past. In fact, never noticed them before. So it's a good time to catch them tonight and tomorrow night, or the next, when the moon is wobbling in our favor.
Yeah. Yeah, well, thanks for letting us know, because it's we should have a few clearish nights this week, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, quarter moon tomorrow night.
Great. Well, thank you for joining us this evening, everyone, and welcome again to the new members, and congratulations to Sid on a well-deserved honor. And
Here.
And yeah, we'll be back next week, and then the AGM the week after.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.